Do it. God damn it. You're fired.
Ring, ring, ring. Hello, simps and virgins, and welcome back to Krown's magical footrest cave.
Oh, the footrest cave is back, baby, and I got a fucking cup full of Star Wars coffee in the early morning hours here. We're ready to goddamn rock and roll because Bitcoin is almost near $60,000 again. Holy fucking shit. I see all sorts of new faces in the community here as well. I want to welcome you back. I want to say a nice and happy and healthy morning to you in this Friday. Is it Friday? I think it is actually Friday. It is Friday. Friday the 15th. Is that? No, that's Friday the 13th. That's the bad one. Anyways, we don't believe in that over here. We only believe in astrology. And with that in mind, we'd like to wish you a more sincere, happy and healthy start to your nice little Friday over here from Helsinki, Finland. And we got plenty to talk about today on pretty much all time frames for Bitcoin. Of course, the big bad news is that Bitcoin reapproaching the glorious glorious numbers, the very glorious 60,000, very highly esteemed numbers. As I can see that my hair is looking very glorious as well. Anyways, with that in mind, holy shit, man. I see a lot of fucking people here. I see Satoshi Nakamoto here. Holy fucking moly, man. Let me turn off the alerts for right now. I see over there, Wally. God damn it. Anyways, what's up, man? Let's see what we got going on in the Krown Chain application. Obviously, you can find this for free, as you do probably already know, in the link description below. It's 100% free, by the way. It has the most free data out there in the internet lands. And what do we see over here? Still, fear and greed index is right at a 70, which is incredibly interesting to me, following up on the conversation from the past few days that, you know, while Bitcoin is, been looking more or less good on pretty much all time frames here, the market is not really getting like that exuberant irrationality that we typically see when, you know, Bitcoin approached 60,000 bucks for the last time, for example, when we saw this well over 90 for, like a week or two in a row, I do believe. So with that in mind, this market is staying, you know, a little bit more grounded, I suppose. And again, kind of following up on that conversation from yesterday as well. You know, it doesn't really feel like there's too many new people in this market just yet. It really feels like those sort of times typically come at, you know, a little bit after the fun parts resume. Anyways, with that in mind, what else do we see as far as the dashboard goes here on the first page? We do see top 10 best coins, Polygon, Perp Protocol, Axie Infinity yet again up there, Bitcoin Gold, don't know why the fuck that one's there, and Bitcoin Cash as well. And then we got Uniswap, Serum, Ethereum, and Hedera Hashgraph all doing pretty damn well here. Of course, whenever Bitcoin's going to be generally bullish, obviously that's going to be good for the altcoins as well. And with that in mind, let's get into the market data tab over here, of which we do have several things to follow up on from yesterday as well. So I want to get this, I want to really dial this down right here, because we do see, and following up on the flow analysis from yesterday, alongside the open interest and leverage ratios, that right now, if you were just looking at this, you'd say, okay, yes, we do have a major washout potential with leverage positions, obviously, that going off of the open interest right here, which is quite literally just over 12 billion with a B. That has been, you know, some pretty dangerous times in the past. And also looking at the global leverage ratio over here as well, we can see that this is pretty much in the same areas, very, very close to, at least, that we've seen major bull traps, major bear traps, and major reversals as well, both to the upside and the downside, typically more to the downside. However, if we actually go into the data and dig around a little bit, it does become very interesting, especially following up on the past few days here, that we see that the perps are actually being sold into this. So CVD, cumulative volume delta over here, suggesting that shorts or shorts in this case are being more aggressive with their market positions. Obviously, it is always a one-to-one narrative, you know, one long for every one short, but we see a lot more market shorting than market buying in this case, and that does imply that we could very easily see the squeeze potential. In this case, that would imply to the upside, as we probably are going to see a bit of a splurt up here and then slam it back down, I suspect, because what sort of a setup are you going to have once we get into the actual charts over here? Well, technically speaking, if you do bring it back on above about 60,000 bucks, you're going to get all the breakout traders and their mothers involved in this asset yet again. And in my experience, breakout traders get fucked. They get fucked, baby. They pull down their pants and they get fucked. And what's probably going to look like? It's probably going to look something like this. You know, you see your initial move and they're going to be like, oh my God, we're geniuses, and then and then come back up and then do something like that. Not necessarily exactly on this, on that red line right there, the fucking LARP lines. I absolutely despise that shit, but it is kind of fun to do. It's fun to be a bit of an artist. Probably gonna be a little bit some more like this, maybe up to like 62 to 64 region, and then come back down and then go for it. That's essentially what I'm kind of looking for right there. Fuck the shorts, then fuck the breakout traders, and then real market resumes most likely. But here's the thing, over the past 24 hours, or really over the past week, we've been getting all sorts of continuation signals on our higher term timeframes here. Obviously, if we go over to our trending charts, you can see that the 2-day and 3-day and 5-day have all been trading above the topside trend bands right here. And by the way, the 2-day and 3-day, namely, are going to be closing tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Any sort of a closure above the topside trend band, I would say the same thing as before, very likely upside first before any sort of a generalized pullback. And in this case right here, Bitcoin quite literally is just under $60,000 on, I can see BitMexico, and all exchanges actually about $100 below that right now. So with that in mind, again, assuming that this condition is going to be fulfilled by end of day, which will be fulfilled by end of day if we do close above 58,500. And also, let me just check out the 2-day as well, which is, 59,500 in this case. So a little bit of a differential right there, although both pretty much in the same area, to be fair. When you are looking at a major, high dollar asset like this, $1,000 is nothing, right? Especially when you're looking at just 2-day and 3-day right there. I would be looking for a continuation into the low $60,000 territory first before any sort of a potential pullback. and a fucking of the of the breakout traders in this case. With that in mind, we obviously have CME closure coming up for the week today at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And what is that going to be having the chance to do? Well, the weekly is going to have a chance to close above the top side Toronto band. Obviously, this is a little bit more of a formality right here, as we already saw this confirmed twice and working on actually time number 3 right here for the 5-day, which actually respect a little bit more than the weekly, but still more or less good things. And probably coming into next week, we do see a bit of a pullback, but for right now, and probably over the weekend, we do see a bit of a blow off right here for the short term. And again, that condition will be met on CME with a weekly closure today above 58,700 or so. So looking really good for all of the higher term time frame analysis, obviously. And then, by the way, we can also go over here and check out, whoops, wrong chart. Let's go to this one. Yep, there we go. That's one we want to be looking at. And weekly Stokes on CME will actually be freshly crossing back up with any sort of a closure today above 54,000 bucks essentially. So, we've all seen crazier things than a $5,000 or $6,000 dumbola in one 24-hour session, but I'd say that for right now, looking pretty damn good. So with that in mind, let's go back down into the lower term timeframes over here and follow up on that. So we identified a bit of a bear trap a couple days ago right here. Ever since then, it's just been marching onwards and upwards, and that is just trend, baby. Just follow the yellow brick trend right there. Be like Dorothy. Is it Dorothy? I don't know if it's Dorothy, but follow the yellow brick trend. And what do we see over here? Another drive of hidden bullish divergence being confirmed into the bullish control zone on the 4-hour, and volatility continues to expand from what we saw, from whence we came back on October 11th, way back on over here when we identified that earlier within the week. So this is all looking good for further continuation in the short, medium, and higher term timeframes. And then I'd be a little bit cautious, perhaps somewhere around 62,000 bucks, let's say, maybe even as much as 64. At that point, I'd really be looking for some sort of a slam down a price action, just absolutely fuck these breakout traders, because that's typically what does happen. And, it's a very unsophisticated trade in my experience. Whenever you see something like that, it's very common to kind of come back down and do that. But looking at daily momentum oscillators as well, just to, further verify, we do see daily RSI still more or less healthy right here, continuing to not just coalesce in the bottom end of the bullish control zone, but now actually taking up the last few highs. So this is all good in the hood right now as well. And if we do go to the 2-day and 5-day, just out of curiosity, yeah, just more of the same right here. More of the same. And the 5-day actually speaks kind of volumes on this one as well, as we do see the first test around the bullish control zone rejected. Okay, that's to be expected. Second one stays in there for a while, and if we can pull up the exponential into that region as well, that's going to look really good, of course, for the long term as well. So again, make no mistake about it, there are going to be ebbs and flows in this market naturally, as there always are, but the generalized direction, as has been postulated ever since Bitcoin especially took out the $48,000 high over here, all higher term timeframes, all macro timeframes are bullish after that point. And yeah, it did take me a little bit time to do that at about 48,000 bucks. But again, this is why, I have these sort of rules. It can make me trade with a lot more confidence on the higher term timeframes. In this case, when you do miss out on a, few $1,000 move for a much greater move with more confidence, I'm much more happy to make that trade just as a trader. That's my personal my personal preferences as a trader. Some people are more cavalier, some people are more aggressive. Fair enough. Hey, more power to you. But for myself, no, I like to keep it in this fashion over here. And I just want to give one more spotlight, I suppose, to the 5-day over here, which we identified, I believe on this chart, was it? Yeah, it was on this chart right here. No, it wasn't on this chart. Was it on this chart or not on this chart? It was not on this chart, maybe on this chart right here. There we go. Yeah, so all of these vertical lines correlate with the same indication on our 5-day BBWP, all expanding from major lows. And in this case, it is obviously direction neutral, but we did say that we have a bullish bias for that, just based off of trend and momentum in this case. And we have seen in the past that at minimum, we've seen about, major moves from that, like 300% plus. So to be fair, Bitcoin looking pretty damn good here. You don't need me to tell you that. I mean, this is just, this is just fucking strength, baby. This is just fucking strength. And in the monthly chart, really giving us a greater insight into more long term of this as well. So with that in mind, I am going to perhaps pull back my own excitement right there. Let's maybe go check out. Do we want to check out traditional markets nice and early here today, or do we want to get into it? What's up, Philson? When moon? Actually, I believe there's a new moon or just a moon thing on the 20th. Somewhere around there. I'm gonna finish off a little bit more of this coffee, and then we'll get into some good old comments there. Oh, my goddamn footrest as well. Elsa put it away, and like she like, put it away. Shh, stop it. I need my fucking footrest over here. Anyways, yeah, I suspect that we can get into the comments right now, make it nice and easy today because it doesn't need to be much more than that. I should come up with an invalidation point, at least on the shorter term timeframes right here. In this case, very simply put, 57,500 or so. That'd be my invalidation for short term bullishness. As long as Bitcoin's above there, I just follow the yellow brick trend, baby. Just follow the yellow brick trend. Below 57.5, yeah, I'd be looking for another move back down to about 55,000 bucks after that and come back to it there. Maybe we have some new going on, but until that, you know, just make it nice and simple. Doesn't need to be much more than that. And let's see what we got going on right here. Great day to be alive in Crypto says Infinity. I agree, man. I do agree. Anyways, let me just pull it up right here. Okay, so Elsa's got all of the comments ready. And here we go. Tim O. Jenkinsworth has found his way into a very strange community, actually. He says, I have no idea why YouTube recommended this to me. I don't gamble. I only watch product reviews. Fair enough. Welcome to the fucking cave. Pull down your pants and get ready for some ramming, sir, because you are probably in a very weird place for yourself, but you know what? We welcome you with open arms, sir. All right, there he is, Wally, as always. What's up, man? Good morning, sir. Cardano, 4-hour daily. If news is right about stablecoins, Cardano, we can have a moment of silence for the fallen. Let's see. I don't know what the news is, nor do I usually care too much about the news, to be honest with you. But is Cardano following through with the rest of the market? Definitely weak, definitely a laggard, but it's going to be very difficult to be bearish on anything if Bitcoin is essentially in rally mode yet again. And what do we have right here? It does look like we have potentially our first higher low in a very long time. Let's actually record this one. Here we have Carderpio versus the dollar, and we do have something of particular interest right here. Several chances it's had to break below $2. You know, while it did look shaky there from time and time again, I do believe that this one is more or less pulling through based off of the strength of the broad market right here. Of course, if Bitcoin shows any weakness, this thing probably gets, shreked back down to 170 or so, but for right now, I'd still like to see a daily closure above about two and a quarter. If that can happen, I'd be extending targets all the way up to about 2.5, maybe even more than that over time to 265 to 270ish region. Probably just pulls through towards the Proton after that. In this case right here, looking at the 4-hour, we do have something of particular interest going on right now because we do have what could be considered your first potential higher low. I think it's a little more obvious on a 12-hour right here compared with this low right here at about $2. This one obviously a little bit higher, and then you got the same resistances coming in right around about 230, let's call it. So technically speaking, if you do want to play the formation, that would be a ascending triangle now, wouldn't it? But technically not confirmed as long as you're below about 232. I'd even say a daily closure above 2.25 is probably going to be good enough anyways. And in this case, what would the measured move be looking like if you are going to play a formation like that? Actually back up to about 260 if that were to happen. Probably not in the same day. Probably happens over the next week or two if it's going to happen. And of course, invalidation on this is going to be the same as before. Below $2, especially on a daily closure, that is where this thing starts to fall apart again, back down to 170 to 165 or so. Until then, this thing is more or less weak compared to most of this market, but I do expect that it is going to fall through here. Short-term time frames would confirm that back above about 220, even on an hourly closure. Let's go check it out over here just to see if momentum oscillators agree or not, and let's see what the weekly has. Yep, still down, but that's the weekly, obviously. Daily will pop back up above 220. Okay, I do like that. 4-hour back up above 220 as well. All right, popping up many times, and hourly above 214.5. Dare I say it's probably going to fall the rest of the market just in a more weaker capacity, and very likely does make its move back up towards those upper levels. Again, invalidation below about $2, but hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Cardano. Not as much of an interesting chart as what you would expect. What's up, Go Lucky? Oh no, new scenes in the face. Quick, dump all your stash. No, dump it on them, sir. You can't be using them for exit liquidity. How dare you? Oh my God, it's a bit of selling right here at the $6,000 level. Yes, everyone's going to, not everyone, but it is very common to sell a bit of a psychological level like that, and I expect that that's what we're seeing right now, isn't it? Anyways, what's up, Pretend? How you doing, man? Hello, good sir. Good morning to you as well, sir. Thoughts on Polka market chart? Okay, this is a new one for me. I know Polkadot, but I don't know Polka market. Sounds like it's from Pokemon. That's what it sounds like. Good. This one's obviously working its way through. I remember Polkadot's chart was generally good as well. It depends what time frame you're looking at, though, as you didn't really give me one. I would say that short term, I am more or less biased towards the upside. As long as you maintain above that $39 low right here, that would be my invalidation. Looking for this one to fall through with the rest of the market. Next sort of short term targets would be about 43.5 to $44 to the upside. And then long term, you got to be looking at the weekly right here, because this one's going to have a chance to close above 42.5 by end of week. And if that does happen, I'd be looking for a retest of your prior wick highs and very likely new all-time highs above $50 in the next month to come or so. But for right now, do be aware of the invalidation. That's again below 39.5. Until then, sideways and up, it's the name of the game. Looking generally good here. Again, following through with the rest of the market, so not bad, man, not bad. What's up, Farhan? How you doing? How you doing, good sir? Good morning to you as well. Seller daily, weekly. Okay, let's check it out over here. We got some time frames as well. This is good. This is a good start. What do we see? Well, daily, or sorry, I think you said daily. Yeah, daily and weekly. My bad. Again, consolidated at a very high level right here. So generally speaking, it is good. Yes. Is this one going to move right now with the rest of the market? It does look like it's still consolidating to me. In this case right here, I would come up with a bit of a range, and I'd say that overall I would have a bullish bias as long as you are above 13 cents. Below 13 cents, I would look for this one to correct much further down, actually, perhaps back all the way to 10 cents even. But for right now, as long as you do hold above 13 cents, generally good. Until then, you know, probably going inside within this current range right here. Very likely does follow the rest of the market. Again, going to depend where Bitcoin finds itself in the next couple weeks here, but I suspect one's probably going to do more of the same. A very good chart long term, obviously, generally goes up, and that is, well, you know, typically what you do want to see. But going back to the daily over here, do I think it's ready to go like today, right now? Probably not, no. And if you do break below about 13 cents, again, correction resumes to the downside first before any sort of ooh. Sorry. Before any sort of new all-time high party in this case. Other than that, man, not necessarily bleeding right now because this one kind of already made its move. It looks like probably going to take a little bit of a back step, and then we'll find out maybe in November, probably in late November, if I had to guess. I'm gonna polish this off, baby. Oh, there he is, Mr. Jack. Mr. Jack. All right, sir. I'm guessing that means Ethereum Bitcoin. We can go check out Ethereum Bitcoin right now. Let's see, are we still getting that bouncy bounce that we spoke about? Yes. Oh, actually, we hit pretty much our first target right there. Okay, so here comes the fun part, Jack, because if I am going to... What the fuck are you laughing about? What are you... Laughing at my hair? How dare you? You know that I'm sensitive towards that. Disgusting. Anyways, okay, so there actually is something very, very important to be aware of here on Ethereum Bitcoin, because while we did hit that 6.5 to 6.6 million Satoshi target, this is exactly where you'd expect the next lower high to be if we are going to see another downside drive to 6 million Satoshi. So how would you confirm this is a local high? I need to see it close basically anywhere below about 6.5 million Satoshis today, and then tomorrow come back down below today's low. If that does happen, you will confirm hidden bearish divergence right here, and I'll be looking at another sweep towards 6 million Satoshis, and very likely does continue onwards and southwards towards about 5.7 to 5.8. Until then, though, I would give it a chance today, Mr. Jack, because if it does start to especially close above 6.8 million Satoshis today, I would actually extend targets significantly to the upside back above 710, and probably just puts in like a major low right here. But we got the bounce that we were looking for. Now it's time. Now is kind of the time, at least in my opinion, to be a little bit more defensive. Because if this one does put in a lower high right here, I mean, this one's obviously going to come down 5.7 to 5.8, and that's going to be considered quite a big move for something like this. So in this case right here, you could also mark this off on the 4 hour as well, back above our current high at about 6.6 or 666. If you want to be the devil, then I look for continuation all the way up to about 7 million Satoshis, and then we really want to see where the daily closes. But for right now, first response good, but this is not like everything that we're looking for right now. We've just hit our targets, and this is kind of where you'd expect your rejection if this one will come back down. So I would still be a little bit more on edge about this until it proves itself. Again, all higher term timeframes like macro, talking 3 to 6 months down the road, very, 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 very good there. But other than that, I think that right now is kind of the time to actually watch rather than actively participate, personally speaking. But of course, this is not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor. And there he is, Mr. King Cosmic. Hello, sir. Does Mr. Spy have moons? Peace as always. Peace as always to you as well, sir. Yeah, so Spy, let's pull it up way back on over here. There we go. And in Spy, we did call a bounce yesterday, as this one did put in its first higher low as well, kind of similar to Ethereum in some ways. You're probably even going to look at this as an inverted head and shoulders. I suppose that you could. You also have some bullish evidence come off that last low as well, which we identified yesterday as well. So, you could look at it as such. I would not trust it, but here's the thing. Here's where I'd obviously get bullish coming into next week, looking for an extension of this bounce back up, probably around 4,500 would be with a daily closure today above 4450 in this case, 4450 yet again. If we go down to the very short-term timeframes, like an hourly, do we see any sort of topping behavior just yet? No, we do not. We do have a reversal, actually on all timeframes up to a daily, so that is good. That is obviously good. If you're looking at the hourly, obviously your last high coming in from about 44.69. You could take that area out on an hourly, probably can front run the daily closure and look for next week up to about 4,500 and then come back to it after that. Until then, there is an obvious area of action to the downside as well. Kind of far away for right now. It's about 44.10 in this case. Below 44.10, I'd be looking for this one to retest around its current lows. I don't think that that's necessarily happening right now, but in this case right here, that'd be my conditions for essentially, failure on this current rally and undoing the whole work that you've put in pretty much most this week. But for right now, weekly, man, the weeklies actually have a chance to confirm hidden bullish divergence here too. So is my 15 to 20% correction going to happen, or did we pretty much see most of it? I think it's only been like 10% thus far, something like this. Not even 10%, 7% right there, half of what I was looking for on the minimum. Definitely possible, but next move very likely up somewhere around 4,500, and then we'll come back to it next week. So traditional market's on a bit of a bounce right here. I'm actually curious to see what Nasdaq looks like right now. Yeah, back about 15. Definitely not as strong, however. Definitely not as strong, although I do suspect that it will make a leg up towards 15 to 50 or so, and then we'll come back to it next week. This one actually still looks rather toppy to myself. What's up? Wait, hold on. Where is he? What's up, Matt C? Big boy Theta, 4-hour daily. Sure, man. Will alt pump after Bitcoin? Typically, yes. Bitcoin kind of sets the tone, and then altcoins follow in varying degrees of strength here. I drew this little fucking LARP lines right here as well. Yeah, this one definitely on the weaker side as well. Long term, do I think that it's going to generally follow Bitcoin? Probably yes. You can see that it's still doing something more or less like this. I just don't think it's too exciting right now, as it's a little bit more on the weaker side, as it was a bit of a first mover earlier this year. So with that in mind, still difficult to get super excited about this thing as long as you're below about 8.25. But if the question is just quite literally, will alt pump like this, generally speaking, after Bitcoin, does its thing? Generally, yes. And I'd expect Bitcoin, probably to put in a move above $6,000. We kind of already saw a little bit of that thus far, and then put in a bit of a local high, and that's when you probably do see alts go into a nice move here. But if you are looking at short-term time frames, yeah, generally okay right here. Can play $6 as a nice short-term pivot, looking for $6.40 to $6.50 overall. Daily, still not anything to write home about right here. I'd be more on the buy on the side, buys towards sideways as fuck here is essentially what I'm looking for. And let me just finish this baby off. There we go. Do I have oh, where's my water? Uh-oh, my water's gone. Sir, can you please help? What's the holdup? It's on the table over there. Well, can you fucking stop? What's up, Mati? Good morning, or as we say here. Oh, you're Finnish. All right. Huvar humenta. There we go. Can you check out Kadena, 4-hour and daily, please? Sure, man. I know all sorts of Finnish, by the way. I know moi, and kiitos, sir. And that's gotten me around here for the last 3 or 4 years now. So there you go. Thank God, Finnish people. Sir, it's on the fucking table, please. Anyways, you're looking at a what? You're looking at a 4-hour and a daily. Okay, yeah. This one, I believe we looked at this one yesterday. This massive wick that we saw, I guess on the 13th, probably would have thrown off a lot of people. In this case, I suspect that this is just an illiquid shitcoin, but it's got a good chart for an illiquid shitcoin, to be fair. And I would be looking for sideways and up from here. My sort of bias buster on the short-term timeframes would be 210. As long as you're above 210, I do look for this one to trade sideways and up. Sir, be respectful, please. And on the daily over here, and then on the daily, my girlfriend is so disrespectful. Like, Jesus Christ, dump it, fucking dumping it. Looking at 250 or so more down the road. Again, as long as 210 is not violated. Overall, though, I mean, it's got a decent chart here. I'd really only get concerned about this one below about 210. If it does take out 210, I'd look for actually a pretty significant downside move to about 175. Don't think that that's necessarily happening right now. But all higher term time frames more or less just in an uptrend right here and looking for a continuation. By the way, 2-day just confirmed hidden bullish evidence there as well. So I'm a lot more biased towards the upside in the short and medium term, just based off of that. Again, with an invalidation point in mind, but so far so good, as Mr. Sir. What's up, Darren Garish? Proton. Okay, XPR, 4-hour and daily. Okay, por favor. Any more gas left in the tank? I don't know. Let's see. XPR, Proton on KuCoin. Yeah, this is actually looking really, really good right here. It's actually looking really, really good, man. Again, not a whole hell of a lot of history on something like this, so I always, want to mark that off by saying, hey, take this with a bit of grain of salt. But if I'm just looking at the 4 hour and you're just going off a TA, yeah, multiple drives of hidden bullish divergence come off that last low, consolidating, yet again in a higher low fashion right here. Looking at something like this, I mean, you do have a bit of it's not really an ascending triangle. I mean, it's just a general uptrend. There is an invalidation point for the short-term bullishness of this below 2.6 cent. Below there, I would look for a correction down to 2.2. Or maybe even 2 even, but for right now, man, this one's looking good. BBWP on the floor, looking for expansion, momentum also to the upside and trend to the upside as well. Daily, I mean, it's pretty extended here to be fair, but and at some point you're going to see a nice prolonged downside and sideways consolidation. But for right now, I expect that this one's got one more move to the upside. Again, as long as Bitcoin's strong, it's kind of difficult to be looking for any legitimate downside on altcoins. But my invalidation, like I did say, would be below about 2.6 cent. That's where things start to, look short-term a little bit more shaky on that one. So yeah, I do think that it has a little more left in the tank. It's actually pretty damn good. What's up, Slacker123? YGG. Okay, what's YGG? This is a completely new one. Yggdrasil? Wait, no, that's not it. Yield Guild Games. Okay, all right. It's that fucking time of the market cycle, I guess. Let's see what we got over here. What time frames are you looking at, sir? No time frames given, you bastard. I would be short-term bullish on this thing as long as you're above 6.8 cent region and looking for short-term continuation towards $7.5 actually. Daily, really not getting much from something that's been around for less than a month here, but for what it's worth, I would be a little more biased towards the upside again, assuming that condition is met. Other than that, there's not really any long-term to be done on something like this. Hourly's, for what it's worth, bullish here as well. Just don't want to get too out of control on something like this when you just don't really have too much price action history. Mostly going off of market strength here, but probably looking at a move north of $7.5 or so, and then come back to it after that. What's up, A-Rose? I bought the Bear Jesus shirt and the price is going up ever since. Oh shit, it's correlated. I even tried wearing it. Nothing. The price still goes up. That's exactly right, man. It's an inverted Bear Jesus sweatshirt, man. Actually wear the shit out of mine a lot more recently because it's gotten really cold here. It's like in the single digits Celsius degrees yet again. But tomorrow we have the biggest, baddest indicator firing off, the airplane indicator, as Elsa and myself are going to be going to Dubai, actually. So are you going to do your Dubai dance, sir? So it should be actually really hot over there. Anyways, why the fuck am I talking about that? Oh yes, won't need to wear a sweatshirt over there. Anyways, what's up, Ben? Bitcoin domin. You mean dominance? When altcoin season? I don't think altcoin season is coming anytime soon. While Bitcoin is showing strength here. If you're looking at altcoin Bitcoin parents, now if you're just looking at altcoin versus US dollar parents, yeah. They're very likely to go up with Bitcoin. But if you're looking at the Satoshi parents, I'm phenomenally bullish on the Bitcoin dominance chart over here. We got bullish evidence come off the lows. We got trend. We got monthly showing some pretty interesting things as well, man. I would not be surprised to see this by end of year certainly above 50%, but probably more towards like 50.5, or sorry, not 50.5, but 55% or so long term. This is very likely to go up significantly from here. I'm gonna front run my own sort of strategy and everything, and say that, look, man, this thing is very likely to move up from here. Technically speaking, I should be looking for lower highs right here. Don't think that that's going to happen. The only way that I'd be looking for an altcoin season is with a move back down below about 43.5%. Again, not a humongous fan of Bitcoin dominance as a metric to begin with, but if I'm just looking at this chart, man, yeah, I'm phenomenally bullish on this coming off the lows. I think that we're seeing a monthly reversal right in front of your very faces, and altcoin lovers are going to be loved by Bear Jesus on their altcoin Bitcoin parents, and probably loved by Bull Jesus on their US dollar parents, until Bitcoin really puts in like a major top, I suspect. What's up, J-Dub? KDA. Yep, we already got that one, so I think we're good there. What's up, Jose Garcia? Good morning to you. IOTA, please. Oh my God. IOTA. Okay, IOTA. Wow. I didn't know that anyone even paid attention to this anymore. I absolutely despise charts that look like this when you have not taken out your 2017 highs. It is certainly relatively weak. With that in mind, you're looking at a 4 hour daily, so you probably don't care about that on the long term. Daily, okay, as long as you're above 130 or so, I suspect. 4 hour, same thing. Below 130 on a 4 hour closure, I would look for this one to come back down and retest around 120 to 121 region. Until then, it's probably going to trade sideways here, just very weak compared to the rest of the market. Certainly not my most favorite chart of today. And when you have a market like this right now, there is an opportunity cost of being in pieces of shit like this. Sorry, but it is a piece of shit. Not you as a person. You as a person, probably great. In fact, very, very likely great. This as a chart, fucking terrible. It is very likely to go up as well alongside Bitcoin strength, but just not going to be as, as big of a gainer in my experience right here. And in this case right now, it's even difficult to get excited about for a short-term time frame as long as you're below about 138. Above 138, I'd look for another run around your early October highs. Again, just a very unimpressive chart in a sea of many impressive charts actually. So just be aware of kind of where you're at in the grand scheme of things. Long term, very difficult to get excited about as long as you're below about 180. Above 180, that's probably where the party starts once again. But still, this is just completely unimpressive when you have a chart that looks like this, when so many other things not so many other things, but the strong ones from 2017 and 2018 have already taken out their prior all-time highs. That is a really, really good sign. This one has not done that, not even close, actually. So hopefully that was helpful, but well, hopefully that was helpful. What's up, Legend Ellies? Why Bitcoin when silver? Where is my inflation hedge? Oh, you fell into the trap. You fell into the trap, sir. My silver inflation. Your silver coins, I'm sorry, but they are absolutely fucking wrecked beyond ruin, sir. Breaking below this level over here, actually not many months ago, but a couple months ago at $23, where we started to get really, really bearish on this one. We did get our move down just to $19.5. So right now, very likely to bounce off this region, probably even back up to 22.5, maybe even $23. But I remain long-term skeptical of something like this, man. I mean, is it an inflation hedge? Look, man, inflation's been, you already fucking know this, man. I'm speaking to the choir right now, but inflation has been going significantly up, and this thing doesn't even hold its fucking value. I mean, it's pathetic. It's fucking pathetic is what it is. I don't mean to like throw shade at the gold and silver bugs, but I think the chart speaks for itself, man. Just completely unimpressive right here. Yeah, it's probably going to put in the low. Yeah, it's probably going to work its way back up. But long term, while I even think that it has some good upside right here, very difficult to get excited about as long as you're below about $23.5. Until then, your best hopium is something like this. It is just that though, hopium, man. This is a chart only a mother could love long term. What about a quarterly over here, just out of curiosity? Yeah, abysmal. This thing will get absolutely shredded below 19.25 if you see any sort of a move back down below there. But short term, yeah, it's very likely up 22.5 to 23, above 23.5. I would call that a reversal and look for your inflation hedge to hedge you a little bit closer towards maybe what real inflation is, but probably still not quite there. I mean, just a very difficult chart to love right here. Anyways, what else do we have over here? Ali Strum says, thanks for the TA, sir. All good, man. Thoughts on ICX 4-hour and daily? Sure. ICX. Okay. Let's see what we got over here. And you're looking at a what? 4-hour and daily. That's right. Again, another, I'm guessing this is a 2017 one. Yep. Nowhere near its prior time high. Just completely. You don't need to trade bullshit like this, man. I just feel compelled to say that, but you don't need to trade bullshit like this, or hold bullshit like this. But hey, fair enough. Maybe you like the fundamentals of it. That's a different game. It's an interesting game to play, but hey, fair enough. Everyone's entitled to do whatever the fuck they want to do. Short term at best, short term a bit of sideways above $2. I would get short term excited back above 216. I think at best you're doing something like this, where you kind of blah, 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 and then maybe pop back on up. Daily, daily, certainly weak right here. Again, it's just very difficult to be bearish on anything when Bitcoin is bullish here. But if this one does want to dump out, and when I say dump out, this would be confirmed with any sort of a closure below about $2 even, I would look for a decent downside move towards 175 to 180 or so. Until that happens, sideways at best, probably follows the rest of the market. But whenever I see something like this, man, it's just... Look, I'll say it straight up, man. This is fucking garbage. Absolute fucking garbage. Same thing as the other piece of shit that we saw. A couple other pieces of shit that we saw as well. Again, I'm just purely talking about charts here, not about people. I understand that people can get, very attached to their investments, but this is just fucking piece of shit, man. Just absolute garbage. Fucking garbage, man. Very likely to move up with the rest of the market, just not as much. So when you are thinking in terms of opportunity cost, each their own, I suppose. To each their own. Again, $2, a bit of an invalidation point for the short term. At best, short term sideways and up. Wouldn't get excited about this thing at all whatsoever, as long as you're below 270 for a more prolonged move to the upside in this case. And even then, man, I think best this one does to the upside long term is $5 in a very, very bullish broad market. That's just me personally, but you know, I can obviously be wrong on that as well. What's up, Dan Dea? I hope all is well with you as well, man. Ethereum on the daily? Yeah, let's go check this one out. Okay, so the question is, are we expecting pullback dump in the near term? Well, let's bring it up right here. And again, compare that to Ethereum, which 2017, 2018, it's made significantly new highs. Like that is strength. That's what we want to see. Bitcoin, same thing, significantly new highs from 2017 and prior cycles as well. When you see other things that have just not done that, they're relatively weak. They're probably going to follow the rest of the market, just not as much. Anyways, here we have Ethereum versus the dollar, and I want to follow up on yesterday's analysis. As we did say, the breakout was likely, and we got the breakout, and we are hitting around our first targets right now, of which the question is from Mr. Dan Dea, on the daily for Ethereum, are we expecting a pullback dump in the near term? Well, it depends exactly how you define that, but in this case right here, I think I know what you're getting at, and I would be looking for a bit of a pullback around your prior early September highs, just below $4,000. Now, would I call that a dump or like any sort of prolonged pullback? Probably not. No, we do have technical targets to the upside from here, which would be based off of this inverted head and shoulders. Shout out to Mr. Mark B for that one. Kind of, well, it does work in this case, and that technical target is valid, especially as long as we are above 3650 or so. So while I would be looking for a bit of a short-term pullback at just under $4,000 or so, I'm still long-term bullish on this one, looking for a retest of your prior time high based off that technical target, as long as 3650, we'll call it, is just not violated. Until then, could we be looking at a short-term pullback around here? Yes, where those targets perhaps come in around anywhere down to 3,700 is fair game. I don't have a strong opinion on that. It's going to be more based off of what Bitcoin does around that time frame as well. All higher term time frames, though, it goes without saying, are bullish here. 5-day, weekly, monthly, all looking really good. 2-day, same thing as well. I think that is kind of what you're going after. But if we do go down to the short-term timeframes like this, I would have a bit of a short-term pivot right here at your last spike low, as long as you're above your last spike low, in this case 37.39. I'm just looking generally sideways and up, and this one kind of following second fiddle to Bitcoin right now. So that is good because Bitcoin's obviously strong. We can go check out momentum oscillators as well, just to see where they're situated at right now, and then go onwards and forwards from there. But let's see, hourly is going to be up as long as above 38.25. Okay, fair enough. 4-hour is up in the critical zone as long as above about the same number. 12-hour is freshly up above 35.75, looking good right there as well. Daily also 37.25 here too. Here's what the 5-day looks like. Yeah, freshly crossing up above 35.25. I've been looking at that to kind of represent the more prolonged view of this one over the next 5 to 20 days or so, basically like week to 3 weeks or so. And do I think that it's going to probably test around your prior time highs? Probably yes. Probably yes. Again, based off of Bitcoin here too. Invalidation below 36.60, we'll call it, or 36.50, whatever the fuck you want to call it. So yeah, very likely a short-term pullback around that region. However, do I think that it's just going to be that? Probably yes. So I wouldn't call any sort of reversals here, especially as long as it's above 37. But technically speaking, my line in the sand is 36.50 or so if you're trading the higher term timeframes. Hourly suggests sideways and up from here. Hidden bullish, ever itself last hourly low. BBWP expanding, and Jewel also in the same direction, plus trend obviously, and that is consistent all the way up to all of your higher term timeframes. So hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Ethereum. Nice one, sir. All right, sweet. Let's see what else we got. Oh, there he is, walling out. My graphs are looking good for my swaps, you motherfucker. How dare you? Just ban them. Ban them. Get rid of them. Get out of here, kid. Go back to school, for the love of God. Sorry, man. Just having a bit of a laugh there. What's up, Mr. Tasco? Hey, Krown, can you do a general overview of Cardano USD? Yep. I think we already got that one, so we're good there, unless you want to see anything very specific. And also, I'll upload a video on that one later today as well. What's up, Sushi Yum Yums? I swear I had a clear and fully fleshed plan to trade this, and I decided to play Everspace and missed the higher low confirmation. Sir? Oh, God. You already know what I'm going to say, man. Priorities. So when it comes to addictions, trading is a good addiction to have because it can give you something back. Gaming is not a great addiction to have because it usually takes more than it gives. I'll just leave it right there, man. You already know what I'm going to say. You don't need me to add insult to injury. So I had a clear and fully fleshed out plan to trade this, and then I decided to play Everspace. Sir, for the love of fucking God, man. Ah, pathetic! Fucking pathetic! Sorry, man. Sorry, I had to say it, but I couldn't hold it down, man. I couldn't hold it down. It's fucking pathetic. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? those are things that I will never understand, man. It's like you have a chance to set yourself up for life. Nope, play some video games, get nothing for it as well. Fair enough, man. Anyways, it's all love, sir. I'm just giving you shit. Do whatever the fuck you want to do, obviously. Gemini Athlete MMA says Ren 4 and 2 and daily can do a pool multiple end of year. I don't know what you're referencing there. I know that is an indicator, but not some, man, a lot of those fundamental indicators they just do not seem to hold up over time in my experience, but fair enough. Anyways, we got Ren over here. Again, still long-term good. Long-term very, very good. Did get its correction all the way down to a buck or so. Or sorry, not a buck. Wait, what is that? What one correlated with right there? Whatever it was 90 cents or so. Let's see, 4 hour. I do like the base right around basically just below a buck. Let's call it 96 cents in this case. And I would be more or less looking for short-term sideways and up from here. Invalidations below about 95 cents on a 4 hour closure, looking for, that next move down to 75 cents. Until that happens, sideways and up is the name of the game here. Just following a little bit less strong than Bitcoin. But again, compare this chart to its long term. Compared to a lot of those shitty charts that we saw earlier today, this one actually pretty damn good. Look, it's making massively new highs above its prior cycle highs, which is good. Good sign right there. Anyways, difficult to get excited about it long term as long as it's below about 122. At that point, I'd probably be looking for big moves. But looking at the daily right here, sideways and up is the name of the game. Probably looking at a move towards 110 to 115 region. Again, invalidation below. I think it was 95 cents. Currently trading $1. Like pretty easy setup to be fair. Short term, very likely bias towards the upside at 107 to 110 for like the very short term time frames. And hopefully that was helpful there, sir. What's up, Infinity? Great day to be alive. Indeed, sir. Indeed it is. Please take a look at stock OPGN. Okay. OPGN. OpGen. All right. Okay. Oh, looks bad. It looks bouncy, but looks bad. Sold at 360 and bought back in at 230, medium to long term. Okay, so you bought the dump and you sold the pumps. Okay, so you did a phenomenal job. Oh god damn it! These charts are breaking my heart, man. They're fucking breaking my heart. My voice can't handle it either, but Jesus Christ, sir, why? No. It's probably gonna bounce here, man. It's probably gonna bounce here. You might even get 250 again, but this is just you bought the downtrend, sir. Fucking terrible, man. It's probably gonna bounce here over the next month or so. Maybe even gives you 250 or so. Heavily fucking bearish as long as you're below 350 long term. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing back down around its December 2019 lows in like half a year to a year, for what it's worth. Heavily fucking bearish as long as you're. I would even say $3. I'd even say $3. I think that you just put another major lower high right there on the monthly, man. It's fucking garbage. Just fucking garbage, man. Just fucking garbage. You don't need to trade garbage, man. You don't need to trade garbage. But fair enough. I hope that's, again, I'm just talking about charts here. And again, it's probably gonna bounce right here. Probably. Weak as shit, though. 230, I think is rather likely. 250 would be a gift from Bula Jesus. If you start to get back above 250, yeah, maybe there's a bit more hopium, but still long-term, $3 is kind of my line in the sand for just being generally bearish on just, oh God. Here's your real chart too. I mean, good charts do not look like that, man. Trade safe. Trade safe, my friend. You made a phenomenal trade at 360 though. You literally sold the high. Like perfectly done. Fucking masterfully done. Do not let those profits go to waste, my friend. I do expect that you're going to get a daily bounce there, though. Let's see. David Jackson says, "Can you use your TA on Cardano USD?" Yep, we already did that one. Why no moon, sirs? It's just a little bit of a weak laggard. I mean, fundamentally speaking, like they've obviously had their issues, and from what I understand, and I'm not a fundamental person, and while I do think this thing is generally going to follow through, probably going to move its way back up towards 250 over the next week or two. Well, I don't need to comment any more than that. We've already done this one, so I suspect I'm just getting to this comment a little bit later. If you want to see anything like super specific with it, just let us know, and we can do that. But I don't have anything different to say than what I said about 10 minutes ago. Yeah, you can always tag Miss Elsa there too. What's up, Allegio? Peace. Hello. Peace to you as well. Cello, please. Any time frames. All right. Nice and open-ended, so I'll go with the 4-hour daily as usual. And what do we have right here? Actually a nice little setup, man. This one looks like it wants to pull through the corner. 645 to 650 or so is where I'd be looking for medium term. An invalidation below about, I don't know, 550 in this case. A little bit wicky on this one on a 4-hour closure. Speaking of a 4-hour, yeah, 570, I'd say a bit of an invalidation below there on the short term. Until then, very likely follows the rest of the market. Short term looking at 615. Closing above there on a daily, very likely does get sent back up towards its September highs. Long term, okay. Generally trends the upside, so I do like that, obviously. I just would not be looking for this one to have like a major move really until Bitcoin plays out its first like decent sized pullback. In this case right here, it's very likely to pull through here. It's just sideways off that level with an invalidation again below. What was it, about 570 on a 4-hour? If you want to use a daily, I think it was 550. More like 550 on a daily closure. Until then, it's obviously consolidating in a nice healthy fashion right here, doing something like this, right? You do have your higher lows, so I'd be respectful of that and generally bullish over the long term. But again, invalidation below, let's call it 5.5 on a daily. Okay, what's up, Dandea? Hi, Krown. Quick question: do you use the MACD at all? Not really. In my actual trading, no. In my actual trading, it's very, very simple actually. Like a lot of people ask what I actually use for my trading. It's just this chart right here. I use a BBWP. I use 3 moving averages and the Joule and the PMARP if I want to scalp it a bit. That's all. Do I use the MACD at all? Unless I'm just doing generalized analysis and there's something interesting there, no. On the Bitcoin daily, it seems that it is converging down, but price keeps on going up. Why is that? Well, that's just due to the way that the indicator's set up. It's a moving average convergence divergence indicator, I suppose, for lack of a better explanation. But how does that happen? I mean, just the inputs. I mean, look at the coding of it. But yeah, man, I'm not saying that the MACD is bad. The MACD is fine. I know several very successful traders who love the MACD and they kind of use it as like one of their main indicators. I'm just not one of them, and it doesn't really have a place in my current system. So other than that, I don't really have anything to add to that. What's up, Martin Hunt? Morning to you as well, sir. Have been fighting all my FOMO and I'm still sat in Bitcoin waiting for a right moment to re-diversify. Can you look at AVAX BTC? Oh dear Lord, we got some Bitcoin parents here. All right, we can. I'm actually curious to see what the Bitcoin parent looks like on this one. Let's go to Binance on this. Yeah, not good. Very likely coming back down towards 8,000 Satoshis. Again, this is just not the time, at least in my opinion, to be playing altcoin Bitcoin pairings. I do think that you're going to bounce around 8,000 Satoshis or maybe like 8,300 or so, somewhere around there. But, a hard chart to love until this thing gets back above about 12,000. Until then, I do suspect that this one, if I had to call it right now, I do think it's going to come down even further than that towards 65, maybe even 7,000 Satoshis, so somewhere around there, and try for a low there. But, when Bitcoin's moving, Bitcoin kind of takes the spotlight, and, things like this are just at best going to go sideways on the lows. And in that case, that's probably like your 8,000 Satoshi region. Start to break below there, that's where things get a little more nasty. But if I had to call it right now, you're probably going to do something like this, and maybe if you're lucky, do something like that, like long term. But until then, not a big fan of something that looks like that. Short term, medium term down. Maybe tries to put another base at 8,000 Satoshis if it's if it is strong around that time. We've already kind of done Bitcoin dominance as well. I'm extremely bullish on that one, looking for 50 to 55% over the next few months here. What's up, Damien? Been in ICX icon for too long, since 2017. Can you give me some good news by checking the weekly? I mean, again, I think we looked at that one, or did we look at this one? But I'm gonna suspect it's gonna be a terrible chart. Yeah, we did look at this one. Just god awful, man. God fucking awful. Look, it's gonna move up with the rest of the market. Very, 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 very likely. Is it gonna be as strong as the rest of the market? No, this is an incredibly weak thing. The only positive thing that I can say about it is it actually didn't make new lows in 2021. So there you go. That would be the best good news that I can give you, but help me unload these packs. I mean, look, man, you got to be asking yourself the opportunity cost of being in something like this. And again, it's very likely to move up, and then you're going to hate me because I'm basically bearish as fuck on something like, it's not that I'm bearish as fuck on something like this, just I wouldn't be as bullish on this as I will on other things, just because this thing is, it doesn't act well. People don't like it. Good charts were making new highs above its 2017 highs. This one is so fucking far away from it. It's just absurd. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. I mean, we're talking about this thing needs to do a 6x in order to get around its prior time high. Garbage. Absolute fucking garbage, man. Absolute fucking garbage. Again, not you as a person, but this is a chart, just terrible. Just terrible compared to a lot of the things that you can see in this market right now. You know, again, you just got to be asking yourself opportunity costs. Like, let's look at the Bitcoin pairing, because you can see exactly its relationship right there. Whoops, almost did it again. So we'll look at icon Bitcoin. I mean, this is, I'm gonna get, yeah, it's just straight down shot, man. It trends towards zero, and you know, you're probably gonna get your pumps and dumps here and there, and that's where you're gonna be. Krown is fucking wrong. Fuck you, Krown. But look, man, this is just your life. It's your life, man. You do have a monthly high or low. But yeah, man, you know, I think at best on like an exuberant, irrational pump, you do maybe like 13,000 satoshis, and that's going to be, you know, maybe around the end of the cycle, if that. Yeah. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that was done in a respectful manner. But I despise charts like this because I just think they're, well, you already know. Anyways, Super Googly says, hello, sir. Please do a collaboration with Crypto when you're in Dubai. Actually, he is there, right? Isn't he? I want to see both of you shaking. You know, I actually really like Chris as a person, man. I actually did a few videos with him in 2019. You know, I think anyone would get along with him in person, man. He's very, 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 very reasonable and chilled out guy outside of YouTube. But man, his videos are interesting. Can we have a look at 700 on Hong Kong Exchange daily, please? Sure. What is this one? 10 cent. 10 cent. Okay. And you're looking at a what again? Daily. Okay, got it. Daily, good. Short term, looking for this one to pop back up around your early September high, somewhere around about 525, maybe even as much as 535. Could this be a reversal right here? Well, it is a reversal on a daily, yes, but would it be on a weekly is the more important question. Yeah, I do think so, man. It's bouncing well off the 200s right here. That is where you expect your corrections to come to on any major downside moves in a prolonged bull market, which this one certainly is. Dare I say that this one probably is going to reverse here and work its way back up north of $500, or I mean, that's not much of a call, but looking towards like 550. And I think that you've probably seen you know, the majority of this downside right here. You know, you have to have your invalidation point set in as well. And where's your last low? About 450 or so. Until then, I'm looking for this one to trade upwards and onwards from here. This is actually what a nice deep correction looks like. And the response so far is what you'd look for if this one is going to pull through. So yeah, I think actually okay. Again, compare this chart with some of the shitty crypto charts we've seen. Just goes up. Just goes up, baby. Just goes up. Ooh, there we go. What's up, Sushi Yum Yums? How would I know if my timeframes are too high for my trades? I keep missing moves by hours after having picked invalidation points. Well, then obviously it's too high. You know, if you're in the program, right? There is a video in the program called Timeframe Relevancy, I believe. Timeframe Relevancy, I believe is the name of it. That goes over like, hey, if you're looking at this time frame, this is kind of the expectation of what you'd look for as like a result of trading a time frame like this. I'd reference that time frame, or I'd reference that video, assuming that I am correct that you actually are on the program. But it sounds, just based off your question right there, that obviously they are too high. If you know, if you keep on missing your trades, obviously. So, you know, you also have to realize that right now with Bitcoin basically trending on all time frames, things are going to be a little more fast than they usually are. So for myself, for example, when Bitcoin enters into these sorts of moves here, I can even go down to like a 15-minute or a 30-minute and, you know, trade rather successfully there. Typically speaking, I like to be on the hour and full hour for my trades. And when things are very slow, like a long-term consolidation like this, you know, months ago, I'll just go on to like the 12-hour and daily for the most part. So again, you know, you kind of answered your own question basically, and you know, you can just go onwards and forwards from there. It's probably a good time to, you know, reanalysize and re-dissect your personal strategy, and then, you know, see what it would look like if you were to use maybe, you know, just 1/4 of a time frame a little bit lower than that. Something like that would be relevant, perhaps. What? Okay. All right. Let's see. I did 3 hours of the program today and watched charts all day. Well, look, man, I do want to just kind of stop you right there. I know that there's more to the comment, but you know, whenever people get into the program and they like start just zooming right through it, you know, binge watching it. That's really not the way that it's meant to be done. Like the best way to do it is to watch like one of the strategies or just one of the indicators and then go practice it for like a week or two and see how it does in real time. Not with real fucking money. Not with real fucking money. I say that with force right there because, well, you want to actually like devise a plan around it, back test it, and then of course go onwards and forwards from there. Once you actually have real data before trading real money. But anyways, I'll read the rest of it. Was only off for an hour. My priority is here, but I took a break at about. Oh no, it's all good, man. I was just giving you shit earlier. You should not listen to when I get a little bit exuberant like that. It's just for YouTube fun, man. Of course, like I understand life gets in the way. I miss trades all the time just because I don't know. I might be walking somewhere. It's all good. It's all good. You have to live your life as well, obviously. What's up, El Pistolero? Love the sideshow Bob look. I don't know what that. I'm gonna have to look at this. Can you do GLCH? Sure. GLH. Okay. Glitch versus tether. Okay. Short term up. Actually, this is a daily, so probably looking for a move back towards 72 to 73 cents or so. You're looking at a weekly as well. To me, I look at this as your next very likely higher low. We should see hidden bullish evidence right there, and we do see it right there. That is technically not confirmed right now. Will be confirmed at end of day today with any sort of a closure here or higher. Short-term targets would be about 72.5 cents. Probably works its way back on to 80 cents plus from there, to be fair. Weekly, not much to analyze here. It's just a little bit too new. If I was just looking at the weekly, I wouldn't be as excited about it. And then daily obviously has an invalidation below about 60 cent right there. You could use the same thing on a 4 hour, just below your last spike low. They're kind of, you know, short-term, medium-term bullish as long as you're above there, and continues on with its sideways consolidation, which, you know, in this environment probably does get resolved to the upside long-term. Anyways, 0ENA04. What's up, man? XTZ USD, short and medium term. I don't know what that means to you, but we can go look at it. What does short and medium term mean, man? For some people, that could mean like very, very different things. For me, I'll tell you what it means for me. So short term means like a 4 hour, medium term means like a 12 hour, maybe a daily. Anyways, you are saying looking to convert cash for some, you bastard. Full solid financial advice is always, oh, you bastard. Just kidding. All good, man. All good. Short and medium. Okay. Do you want to record this one or not? Let me just double check my videos for today. Don't want to overload it too much. Oh, only 2. Do you want to do this one or not? Yeah, sure. All right. Here we have Tezos, symbol XTZ versus the dollar. XTZ, not X to Z. YouTube algo, gonna hate that one. That's all good though. Anyways, looking at this one on the short and medium term timeframes, we do have a nice base being built right here on a higher low structure, which correlates to the higher term timeframes. That's gonna be 670 in this case. Still looking at the kind of the same thing that we spoke about earlier this week, where, you know, it's generally going sideways in this region right here. But that is good for the BULAs in the medium term, just, you know, not going to be too exciting in the short term, obviously. Now, again, I would have an invalidation just below 669 actually on a 4 hour closure, looking for a big bad move down to 595 if that were to happen. But for right now, you know, given the market conditions here, probably does pull through. Like I said, if it wants correct, looking somewhere down around just below $6. Not necessarily that I'm looking down there right now. And for the short term, or sorry, more akin to the medium term, if you do see a 4 hour closure back above about 745, that's at the point where I'd be looking for this one to pop back up, you know, around your early October highs in $8.5 to $9 or so, and probably continue on with the general macro run here. A very good chart long term. Again, kind of referencing some of the charts that we saw earlier today. You know, a lot of the altcoins that have been around for this time, they do not look like this, and this one obviously speaks volumes when you do see just a general uptrend on the weekly here, for example. So, you know, to kind of wrap this one up, short term more or less sideways here, probably bounce off this region once again, invalidation again below 669, looking for nastier downside moves after that. But to be fair, well, have you already played this out? Yeah, I guess you could say that you've already played out. Probably grinds up 680 yet again, but that's okay. Let's go check it out from this angle just to double check and see kind of where we're at in the grand scheme of things as far as momentum goes. Daily, yeah, we'll flip back up above 770. I don't think this thing's trending anytime soon. On the higher term timeframes, 12 hour 691, so actually okay there. 4 hour, we'll flip back up above 732, so a good pivot right there as well. Hourly, short term flippy floppy, but probably one more grinding out of the downside region, and then tries a bit of rally off of the just under $7 region. Again, more or less sideways here though, in the short and medium term, but that is good for the long term. That is, again, good for the long term, and probably looking at a run towards your prior highs, maybe a few weeks down the road here. Hopefully that was helpful, sir. Cool. All right, Tweety. Hey, what's up, Tweety? Yo, Krown, have a great day. You as well, man. Thank you for that. Link daily, sure. Is it ready to move? Let's go check it out. I'd like to see Link move, just for old time's sake here. Ooh, more little burpees right there. Yeah, I think actually it is. I think it actually is ready to move here. Here we have Link versus the dollar. I want to follow up on this one because this one used to be the dollar of the market. And again, another very long-term good chart as it has generally just gone up and consolidated at a very high level compared to most of this market. Daily, we do see that it did salvage itself yet again on the 200 exponential average right there, which is good. Volatility is on the ever-loving lows at 0 percentile. So we're looking for a move over these next few days, maybe even today. I'd like to see it technically close above 27.5. Do I think it's going to do that? Very likely, yes. If you want to go buy the book, you just wait for that. And be looking for another move back up around your middle of September highs, like in the low 30s, 32 to maybe $34 region or so. Daily Jewels also lining up for a potential major signal here too. DMI supported. Just want to see that one get a little bit of cyan coloring, and then probably looking at into the mid 30s at that point. I would hold off on like major excitement as long as you're below about $35, just this early September high right here. And I would be more or less biased towards short-term sideways and up as long as you're closing daily dildos, even 4-hour dildos above 25 bucks in this case. It's looking generally good here. Just kind of taking its time going sideways. But I suspect, over the next month or two, you're going to see it kind of follow in Bitcoin's footsteps and work its way back up towards its prior highs, because this one has been a pretty damn good one long term. Just curious what it looks like over on this angle as well. See, weekly will pop back up above 31.80. Okay, an interesting pivot to be aware of. Daily will pop back up above 26.40. Again, basically just holding it here is good for the boo laws. And sideways and up is kind of the name of the game. 4-hour up above 28.30. So short term, maybe a little more sideways. Hourly 26 pivot as well. So again, generally good long term. Just want to see those pivots taken out, and basically as long as this thing is above 25 bucks, generally good. Sideways is good for the boo laws right here. And dare I even say that this is your next higher low, so you do have a bit of reversal staring you in the face, which is generally good. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Chainlink. Nice one. What's up, Jero? Shiba. Oh man, we got to go back to Shiba over here. All right, let's see where this one's at. And did this one continue or not? That's a real question. Yeah, there we go. All right, sloppy toppy, baby. Sloppy toppy. We got some more sloppy joes for you. Probably does bounce here on the short-term time frames if you're looking at a 4-hour. If you're looking at a daily, do I think it's toppy? Yeah, I do. I think this one's going to work its way back down to 2,000, over the next week or so. Maybe a week or two, something like that. But short term, very likely to bounce here. I would invalidate that and get bullish on this thing yet again for, probably a new high on this run above 3150 in this case. 3150 would be more like 3100 would be my line of standing, even on a 4-hour. But until then, man, I'm a lot more biased towards the downside here. I suspect that this one's going to work its way back down to 2000 to 2100 or so and try for a bounce there. Dare I say that maybe that is it, but we'll come back to it after that, I suspect, and see. At least for right now, give it a chance, I suppose. Has had a pretty nice run, but then again, meme tokens will be meme tokens, won't they? What's up, Lilith Music? Hey, Krown, have you been made aware of Provision 6050I in the infrastructure build? No. I missed my first couple of streams since you've gone back live. It's not the broker provision. It's a different code adjusted from old regulations. No, I'm not familiar with it, so I'll have to look that up after the stream. Yeah, I don't have anything to add because I'm just not educated on that topic yet. So thank you for bringing that about, and I'm actually going to write it down over here. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, sweet. I can follow up on that a little bit later, but yeah, man. Right now, I can't make any comments on that. I'm not educated on that at all. What's up, Jack? Could you please look into gold daily and weekly? Sure. Okay, so last we looked at gold, we said continuation of bounce. Let's see if I think it was yesterday too. Let's see if we got it. Yeah, we did get it. Hey, not bad. Actually, right up to our $1,800 level. However, do I think that it's going to stop there? No, I think this one's going to push through actually. An easing and validation on this one as well, below 1780 on a daily. Until then, I'm looking back around your early September highs, 1825 to 1830 or so. A little bit of a weekly reversal here too, man. Actually, now that I look at it, any sort of a closure here or higher by end of day, yeah, I'd be looking for a retest of your early September highs, and then very likely continuation from there as well. This one looks like it's going to pull itself together a little bit better. This one obviously having a better chart than silver, for example, but yeah, I mean, that I don't really need to add anything onto it other than that. You know, generally better than silver. Obviously, you know, consolidating on basically new all-time highs is a good thing. Just moving like molasses as gold typically does. BG, what's up, man? Hey, thanks, man. Link BTC. Okay, let's check it out. Link BTC, huh? I'm gonna guess the Bitcoin pairing not too hot here. I can't spell either, which is an issue. Yeah, really bad here, actually. Really bad here. I do not think that this next move is going to be good for altcoins, man. You know, short term is a bouncy. I mean, you kind of got your short term bounce right there, immediately rejected. Let's see, what time frame are you looking at? Daily and a weekly. I would actually. This is not strong. It's not strong. You know, there's a very easy way to invalidate what I'm about to say next, but your yesterday's spike high, as long as you're below there, I look for this one to trade sideways and down from here, man. Back down to your 34 to 3,500 Satoshi base. Now, if you do take out yesterday's spike high, I'd look for one more move up to 5,400 Satoshis. Maybe it salvages itself from there, but heavily bearish as long as you're below 6,500. So it's got a lot of work to do. That's kind of the problem with it. All higher term timeframes are bearish on this one. You got your monthly lower high right here. It's already testing around your lows. It's not a great setup long term. Here's a real chart. Yeah, not a big fan of this one, actually. 5-day looks like it's about to enter into a bit of free fall. Again, it's, you know, has a few more days here to go, but I would say invalidation on all of the bearish shit that I just said. If you can take out yesterday's high, I'd be looking for some medium-term upside at the very least. But long-term, very difficult to get excited about this one right now, even though the US dollar pairing looks like it wants to pull through a bit here. So hopefully that was helpful, sir. Let's see, Damien, good morning, sir. Is there a way to save on taxes by trading under some sort of business rather than myself, like an LLC or some corporation? Well, this is not tax advice. I'm not an accountant or anything like that. You should definitely, you know, consult with one. But yes, generally, yes, that is going to be true. So make sure that you find like an accountant that knows trading, and then they also know crypto trading, because they're going to probably hate you. They're probably going to charge you a lot of money. In fact, I can assure you of that fact if they're going to be good. But will it save you money on taxes? Yeah, they should be able to. They should be able to do that if you qualify as you know, as like an actual trader by the tax laws. So that basically comes down to, at least in my experience, and again, this is not tax advice. None of this is advice at all, by the way. But in my experience, what was the rules? Basically boils down to like, do you make most of your money from trading or not? If you do, yeah, you're going to qualify for that, and you're going to have some good protections there. If not, then there's probably not going to be a difference at all. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful, sir. What's up, Scott? Polkadot, are we going to make? We're going to make. Are we gonna make it? I think that was that's the real thing. Are we gonna make it? Yeah, looking really good here. Looking really good here, actually. Here we have Polkadot, symbol DOT versus the dollar. I want to follow up on this chart yet again, as this one has been one of the better actors, especially in recent times. We're getting our first pullback off of that $45 level or so that we spoke about maybe earlier this week. Actually, I don't even have it marked off right here, so maybe we didn't. But overall, this is actually a healthy and to be expected pullback right here. In fact, we could even just move up our sort of invalidation on the daily just below 38 bucks in this case. And as long as this thing is trading above there, I'm looking for volatility expansion. Again, this is above 50 percentile right now, so that is good. Trend is obviously to the upside, and momentum oscillators are also getting some nice bullish signals here too. Still looking at about 45.5 bucks, I do believe. Yeah, somewhere right around here. Maybe another short-term pullback around there. Then very likely this one does go for its all-time highs over the next, over the next few weeks to come. Generally speaking, long-term, I am looking towards $50 as like the next major area to be aware of. One of the better charts that we've seen today as well. And if we go back down to the 4-hour, yeah, invalidation on this just below 38 bucks, let's call it, or let's just call it 38 bucks, make it nice and easy. If that trigger gets met, then I'd be looking for a deeper correction first, somewhere around 34 to 34.5 bucks, and then come back to it after that. Until then, one of the stronger charts that we've seen today, and some good signs right here, actually. Just looking for this one to trade sideways and up out of this short-term range here. And that's really all I have to say about that, man. It's, generally good. Just looking at the 2-day, looking at the 5-day, seeing if there's anything else that's obvious. Not necessarily. Generally, just follow the trend, follow the yellow brick trend right there. maybe one more angle just to see what it looks like from a momentum oscillator perspective. Let's see what got. There we go. Hourly is good, $40 pivot. 4 hour, 41.5. Okay. Daily, 39.25. Still looking good there. 5 day, $38. Yeah, I generally like it, man. I expect that it goes sideways and up from here. Not bad on symbol DOT, sir. Sweet. Okay, we got 120 on the board. What's up, Space Chase? Hope all is well. Hope all is well with you as well, sir. DeFi is lagging. Yeah, you know, this market does kind of go in rotations, doesn't it? Comp USD. Okay, so this is, am I right in assuming that this is a reward token? Looks like I have my LARP lines already laid out for this one. I don't really have anything to add towards these LARP lines, actually. Still looking at best sideways above 260. I think you're probably going to test 260 a few more times, perhaps. But overall, do I think it's actually going to break down here? Probably not. No. Again, you do have to favor the market analysis. I can tell you that I get phenomenally bearish below 260, especially on a daily closure or weekly closure. I'd be looking for big moves down, probably below $200 at that point. Don't think that that's what's happening here. I think that you're probably putting in a local low right here. Should have, yeah, you have multiple drafts of bullish. Everyone's come off the lows. Volatility's on the lows as well. Very likely to make a move back up towards, you know, somewhere around $400 over the next week or two. I wouldn't necessarily get super excited about it long term, as long as it's below about 500 even. That's kind of like your greater range in this case. Above there, you know, you're probably looking at moves around your prior highs in this case. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful in this one. I suspect that, you know, there's going to be a lot of weight in this with a little bit of short-term upside. Again, hard to get super excited about as long as you're below $500 in this case. Definitely lagging though. I'd certainly agree with you on that. As are, you know, most things going to be in this market right now. 4 hour, if you just want to look at this one, I don't really have anything to add on to this. I'd be looking for one more swipe of like your, you know, just below $300 lows if you do see another 4 hour closure below 305. In that case. Hey, what's up, Maximiliano? Maximiliano, very exotic name. Thanks, man. I don't drink, but I'll give it to Elsa. There we go. Appreciate that, man. What's up, Spike Keystone? NU, symbol NU. Okay, daily, weekly, got it. Let's see, what do I know this one from? Or do I know this? Holy, what the fuck? You don't need me to tell you that that's bullish. Obviously something else is going on here. Whatever I'm going to tell you is not going to be very, very helpful, because it's probably news related, fundamentally driven, whatever. In this case, I'll tell you what you already know. You took out your last major high right here, generally going to be bullish. Do you come back down and retest around 55 to 60 cents? Probably yes. Ultimately though, this thing looks like, well, it looks, I'll dare I say it, it looks good. I really don't have a good analysis to give you on something like this, man. Just because, I mean, I'll tell you what you already know. Above 51 cents, very, very good. Do I think that you can come back and test in like the mid 50s? Yeah, absolutely. Other than that, there's not much for me to do on something like this, man. It's just a massive girthy green tilde, man. Powerful. Weeklies, there's not even a weekly chart to really speak about here, but again, I'll tell you what you know. I mean, that's any sort of a weekly close above 50 cents, you're probably looking at more prolonged upside into November, I suspect. What's up, Cairo Man? When Bitcoin dominance is going up, but in altcoin charts bullish against Bitcoin, then obviously it would gain in sats even though Bitcoin is bullish. Okay, so that's two separate questions. Look, if you're trading an altcoin Bitcoin pairing, look at the altcoin Bitcoin pairing chart rather than Bitcoin dominance. I stick with what I've been saying about Bitcoin dominance. While it's a general overview of the altcoin market, it's really not like a great metric to begin with. It's a lot better of an idea that if you want to trade Ethereum Bitcoin pairing, for example, you just look at that chart and you disregard what Bitcoin dominance is doing. So if whatever chart that you're looking at is bullish versus the Bitcoin pairing, you know, run with that. So it's, I would say simplify in this case. Again, Bitcoin dominance is a very crude calculation. It's going off a market cap to begin with, and you can create a shitcoin extremely easily. So I just a general snapshot, like trade the chart that you want to be trading. So if you are bullish on a Bitcoin altcoin chart, trade that chart, and that's probably going to that's a lot more likely to be the right call rather than just blindly saying that oh well, Bitcoin dominance is bullish, so I need to be bearish on this one. No, because there will be some outliers, absolutely. And if you found one of those, Cairo, man, that's really good sign, man. That's a really fucking good sign, just because very few are going to be doing that in this segment of the market cycle, at least in my opinion. What's up, Andy C? Hey, thanks for that, man. What? Okay, it has more history on Polynix. Okay, let's see. This thingy. Let's see. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. This is much better. Thank you for that, man. Thank you for following up on that. Yeah. Generally speaking, I'd be looking for this one to probably continue somewhere around 90 to $1. Play at a pullback from there. Pullbacks can be really fucking violent in something like this because, well, the upside is violent, the downside's going to be violent as well. But I would be looking for a base in the mid to upper 60s long term. So I'd be long term bullish on it as long as it's above about, let's just call it 60 cents in this case. Short term, do I think it's going to continue from here? Yes, I do. Probably around 90, maybe even makes a run towards $1 and then plays out a bit of a pullback. Long term, though, I would remain bullish on it as long as you do remain above, let's just call it 65 cents. So yeah, thank you for calling that one out, man. That's actually a lot more interesting. And thank you for that nice positive message, Andy C. That's very kind, man. And thank you. Michael Andronde says MKR USD 4 on daily. Okay, this is Maker Derp. Make myself laugh. 4 on daily. All right. Daily looks to me like a bit of a higher low right here. Again, have to be generally bullish on the market. Long-term timeframes just sideways between about 4,100 and 2,100 base, but I do think that you're putting a rally off these lows right here. The next sort of major thing that I'd be looking for is a daily closure above 27 actually. If that happens, I'd be looking for a return to basically the median of the range, somewhere just above 3,000. I almost said Satoshis, but just above 3,000. Weekly, again, put in a base at the 55, as several other things are as well. Just a little bit more on the weaker side compared to most of this market. Short term, invalidation below about 2,500 on a 4-hour. Until then, sideways and up is the name of the game, man. All momentum oscillators are pointed towards probably another move towards 27, just above 2,700 or so. Short term, looks generally good off the short term, just not as interesting as some of the other charts that are more bullish immediately. For example, what's up, Pizza? Is that right? Can you do XRP on the weekly and daily? Sure. Actually, this would be a good one to record for the old XRP crew. I think you said daily and weekly. Okay, got it. All right, here we have Ripple symbol XRP versus the dollar, and we've been following up on this one over the past couple weeks here, and we just been watching this one upwards and onwards as this one does continue to prove itself, which is good. Good for the Ripple community over there. Anyways, weekly close coming up on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and assuming that we do close above basically anywhere here or higher, especially 115, I would be looking for this one to mount an assault towards its 130 highs from I guess like early September or so, probably November if I had to guess. Looking at the daily right here, I would have an invalidation on this as an idea below about 109, let's call it, on a daily closure. Until then, most timeframes, even the short-term timeframes, are generally sideways and up from our 107 to 108 lows. Very, very short term on the 4-hour. Do I think that we could come back down and maybe stab around 109 to 110? Yeah. Again, that doesn't really destroy anything on the higher term timeframes, obviously. Looking for this one to fall in the footsteps of the rest of the market. And by the way, very likely looking at a nice move here, probably within the next few days, maybe as much as a week, as BBWP is on the floor. The volatility set to expand, and daily RSI does say probably would be looking for an upside resolution. Still would like to see a daily closure above 115 to 115 and a half, and then I'd be looking towards 130, and then probably continues on with the run in late November, maybe December. Generally going to pull through here, I suspect. Maybe go look at it from this angle as well, just to see if there's anything more obvious. Daily points back up above 117.7. Okay, interesting. 4-hour flippy floppy 115, the pivot right there, actually very synonymous with the daily levels, and hourly 111 as well. So if I had to call this one right now, I actually do think that short term it probably does trade a little bit more short term sideways and down, perhaps around that 110 to a 111 region. Again, generally looking for that to pull through though into the next week or so, as long as you do maintain above a $1.09, let's call it. Sideways is good for the boulas here. Is kind of the idea that I'm postulating. Overall, kind of have to be bullish on Ripple here over the next month or two, I suspect. Hopefully that was helpful, and there you go. And obviously, get very excited about this thing back above 130. So yeah, I'll just leave it right there. In fact, weekly does have hidden bullish divergence right here, and does appear to be another higher low right here as well. So yeah, if I had to call it right now, Ripple very likely to pull through and stab around its May highs over the next month or two. Hopefully that's helpful, sir. And there you go. Nice one, man. Let's see. Holy shit, I need to piss like a racehorse. Maybe I put Elsa on the microphone and then I go take a pee. Sir, I think you might need to do it. I need to go. Mr. Dr. Roxco says, Matic day and week. Okay. Old Polygon over here. Pull this one up. All right. Yeah, looking good, man. Weekly's working on an engulfing right here. So any sort of a closure on Sunday, 8 p.m. Above 140, I'd be looking for this one to make a run towards 160 minimum, towards maybe even 190 or so. And this is going to look really, really good. As what do you have? I mean, you basically have, hold on, we only need 2 trend lines right here. This one's rather simple. You basically have, well, an ascending triangle reaccumulation, and that is good for the boulas yet again. Looking at the daily, bullish divergence come off that last low. It's also a higher low. You also took out your last highs. I'd be looking for this one to work its way back up towards 160 to 180 region over the next week or so. And big breakouts above 180 is very likely to apply new all-time highs in November, something like that, man. It looks good. It looks good. Cool. Have you seen a UFO market makers in Bitcoin real? I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Market makers in Bitcoin real, it's kind of difficult to be a market maker in cryptocurrency land because there's no central clearing agencies. I guess they're going to work on that. That's probably like the $1 billion project right now. If someone can figure out that answer, they're going to get paid in spades. But I suspect that Sam from FTX is probably going to figure that one out first before anyone else. Anyways, are market makers in Bitcoin real? Well, most of what people call market makers is usually just like quant firms. People don't really understand what that word means, funnily enough. Market makers just means that you're essentially the person providing the bid and ask. So leave it right there. Have you seen a UFO? I don't know. That's a good question. Pyro Man says FTM Bitcoin at daily and weekly then still going to outperform Bitcoin. All right, let's check it out. Okay, this would be probably one of them, just because this one was looking pretty damn good versus the dollar. I do remember. What time frames are you looking at here, sir? What time frames are you looking at here? Daily and weekly. Weekly long-term good, obviously. Monthly long-term good as well. Daily, do I think that we could come back down to 2,700 before anything else? Maybe yes. I don't really have a strong opinion on that. If you close a daily doodle below 3,300, then yes, I would be looking for that move. Until then, I agree with you. This chart is more bullish. Is bullish versus Bitcoin long-term. Short-term downside though. Yeah, I actually would be looking for this one to come down to 3,000. Yeah, I actually would be looking for it to come down to 3,000 or so, and very likely bounce there. Long-term, though, is very, very good. Very, very good. Bi-weekly is very, very good here. Just a bit of short-term down is kind of what I'd be looking for right now. Kyle Moss, can you do tell on the daily and 4 hour? Sure. Telcoin, huh? Telcoin versus the tethers. Daily and 4 hour, you say? Daily good, breaking out of the short-term range right here. Looking for this one to pop back up towards 2.6 cent or so. This one actually looks like it wants to pull through sooner rather than later. 4 hour, however, do I look for a move first to like 2 to 2.1 cent? Probably yes. Invalidation on the general idea though, below about basically 2 cent. Yeah, this one's good here, man. Probably just one more retest of like low 2 cent or 2.1, and then very likely retest around its late August highs. It's good though. It's actually good compared to a lot of the other shitcoins that we've seen. And again, another 2017 shitcoin that's well above its 2017, 2018 highs. That's what a good one looks like. Long term, that is. What's up, Casey? Appreciate that, man. Forward on the weekly. Sure, yes, just symbol F over here. There we go. And you're looking at a weekly, huh? Good. We do have a weekly reversal here. I'd be looking for this one to pop back up towards 16.5. Oh wow, we charted this one out ages ago, man. Put in a higher low right here, beautiful. Long term, I don't know when the fuck, like how long this is. Like maybe later in this decade. Probably would be looking for a breakout to the upside. I don't think it's ready right here, just for what it's worth. I think it's going to test around probably like 16.5 to 18 bucks, something like that, and probably reject again. But long term, this is a reaccumulation formation. If you're just looking at a weekly, yeah, I'd be looking for this one to retest like 16.25, 16.5 over the next month, maybe 2 months. What's up, Tokyo channel? Hope all is well as well, sir. Dollar yen, yes, maybe that TA stuff works. maybe every once in a while, sir, but don't get too comfortable with it, sir. Dollar yen, okay. Oh man, oh baby. So we've been following this one for like, it seems like a year now, maybe, at your request, and this is just fucking bullish, man. Very rarely do you see monthly BBWP get down to 0 percentile. Well, that happened on a higher low right there. I'm still looking massively north towards 118.5 to 119, perhaps around end of the year. Longer term than that, I'm looking for 124 to 125 to be retested. And I mean, this is just very, very long-term bullish. There's going to be ebbs and flows, but even on the weekly right now, you are kind of freshly breaking out. So I'd be looking for, 115 and then maybe a very short-term pullback and very likely hit your 2016, 2017 highs. Cool. All right. Okay. West Coast LA says, can you check out Kyber Network? Yeah, what's the ticker for this one? I'm just going to type it in. Okay, there we go. That worked. That worked. And what are you looking at on the daily and weekly? Surely this one has more history than this. Okay, it's KNC. One from way back when. Yeah, here we go. This one should have the history. Yeah, again, another 2017 shitcoin that did not take out its 2017 highs. So unimpressive in comparison to a lot of other things. Does that mean it's just going to go down from here? No, probably not. Again, as long as Bitcoin's bullish, everything else gets a free ride as well. But this is not strong on its own. Short term, 160 would be a nice little pivot for some downside. Until then, probably looking for this one to pop back up towards, just around $2 or so. Weekly, really hard to get excited about this one long term, as long as you're below about 240. Above there, I'd be looking for a retest of your 2021 highs, maybe into end of year. But again, just, this chart is just not as impressive as many other charts that we've seen today. So I always want to point that out. And if Bitcoin shows any weakness, this thing is just going to get absolutely fucking shredded. So kind of hard to love long term, but yeah, everything in this market kind of gets a free ride as long as Bitcoin's bullish. All right, Senegra, we're gonna end on you, sir. We're gonna end on you. I need to really pee actually. Can you ask Krown if he can explain scenarios where a 1 to 2 hour close is enough to front run 4 hour structures? Well, I mean, if you're charting the 1 to 2 hour structure, then that would be enough. So the times when I say that, Senegra, are when the 1 hour structure is basically the same as the 4 hour, right? So in this case right here, I can give you an example. 4 hour structure, you have a low of about 57,300 or so, and you could just kind of extend that down to 57,000. If I go down to the hourly and I say, okay, 57,000 bucks is clear here as well. You do see this level coming in, getting all these wicks right here. You could probably use an hourly in that case, or if you want to be a little more conservative, you can use a bi-hourly. It's just when the structures match up with each other, I say, okay, can you front run this one a little bit by using a shorter term time frame? Yeah, I suppose it makes sense. It's always going to come with more risk, obviously, but sometimes the risk is worth it if it's going to give you a better entry. So that's kind of the way that I think about it. Just basically, you want to see them pretty much within the same area. What's up, Legend Ali? I sold half my AMD calls that I bought at 88 bucks today as my options expire tomorrow. Where is a good pullback target to get back in? Here we go with the financial advices, I guess. Pullback targets, if this thing came back down to like 108, 109 region, I like that, but I'm generally bullish on this. This is very, very strong into the weekly closure here. If sold half my AMD calls, personally speaking, I would have wanted the stock, honestly. I would have let them expire in the money and just take the stock. Monthly has hidden bullish evidence. I mean, this one's long-term bullish still. I think maybe you got to move back down to like 109.5 to 110 region early next week, and then from there, this one very likely makes new highs. Really good, really good. But it sounds like you still have half your calls, so yeah, I mean, you have options there, obviously, and I think you know what to do, generally speaking. So all good on that one. Alrighty, I think we're gonna go wrap up the old cone here. Do we even need to wrap it up? Yeah, I think I'll just record like a shorts video later and kind of do it there, as those seem to be a little more pertinent. But overall, all higher term time frames still looking good on Bitcoin. Big eyes on the weekly closure here for CME. That's going to set in the buys for the next couple weeks to come, as we are going to be having a chance to close above the topside Toronto band here with any sort of closure above 58,650. If that happens, I'm looking for basically retest per all-time highs and probably new all-time highs, probably in November. probably like early November, but the setup is there obviously. And to me, this is more of a formality as the 5 days kind of already doing this. But if you want to go buy the book, the weekly, obviously powerful here as well. And, there's going to be ebbs and flows along the way. I expect that you're probably going to see a nice little slam down somewhere around 61 to 62,000 bucks. But for right now, 4 hour just closed above the top side Toronto band again. This one looks like it's ready to give one more try. Probably into the shallow $60,000 territory. So hopefully that was helpful. I'm gonna be signing off right now. I want to wish everyone the best yet again. Elsa is not waving in the background. Okay, she is waving in the background. Oh, I should also let you know, this is gonna be the last live stream for, when do we come back? For like actually a week. This will be the last live stream that we'll have for about a week here. We're going on a bit of a trip to Dubai. So, I'll see you in a week, although I'll still do videos pretty much every day anyways, so they just won't be live streams. But anyways, I want to say a massive thank you for joining on in. It's been a really fun last couple of weeks here as Bitcoin does what I think a lot of people have wanted Bitcoin to do for the past few months. So excellent. Congratulations to all, especially if you're making money in this market. That is excellent. Take advantage of things while they are a little bit more on the easy side, dare I say. And with that said, I salute you. See you hopefully soon. And until next time.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, fix or pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate, pause it, list it, send it,